Ayo, what is up, wrestling fans? It's your boy J3mri, and welcome to J3mri's Wrestle Watch podcast. So today, I'm going to be talking about the WWE Raw from January 11th, 2010. So that is Season 18, Episode 2, if you were to look it up on Peacock and try to watch it. So this episode was guest hosted by Mike Tyson, which was the first time Mike Tyson had been on WWE since 1998 when he had that whole thing feuding against Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold and whatever they did back in the day. So Mike Tyson comes out and he starts saying that it's great to be here and that he last time he was here he had an amazing time and he's excited to be back. And then he gets interrupted by Sheamus's music. And then Sheamus comes out and he calls him a washed up former champion and says that as the current WWE champion, Sheamus is the baddest man on the face of the planet. And after that, Mike Tyson pushes Sheamus, and Sheamus is like, yeah, if you do that again, I'll drop you. And then Randy Orton's music turns on, and he comes out, and he just basically says that he deserves a shot at the WWE Championship, and he starts trying to get in their faces. And then John Cena's music turns on, and Sheamus asks him, like, why are you here? I just beat you like a month ago. Why are you here? And John Cena says that he wants a title shot because he's beaten everyone that's in the ring right now. He's beaten Orton, he's beaten Sheamus, he's beaten Mike Tyson even. And he's saying that he deserves another shot at that championship. And then Jamaican Kofi Kingston's music kicks on, and Kofi Kingston hauls it out, and he says that he's never had a match for the WWE Championship, and he's not just going to sit backstage and watch as everyone else keeps getting their shots while he's back here grinding, earning a shot, and he deserves a shot right now. And he says that he refuses to take no for an answer, but Sheamus decides to say, well, I want the Royal Rumble off, because when Mike Tyson was a world champion, he didn't have to defend his championship as often. He got to defend his title every couple months. So Sheamus decides, like, I want the Rumble off, but Mike Tyson, being the special guest host, gets to make the decision of what happens, and he decides, well, I have never dodged a fight in my entire life. And he decides that John Cena, Randy Orton, and Kofi Kingston will have a triple threat match later tonight to decide who will face Sheamus for the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble. Which Sheamus is not happy about. But it just shows him being all mad, and then it cuts to the first round of the Divas tournament. Last week, they were doing, they announced that there's going to be a women's tournament for the WWE Divas Championship because Melina got injured in a house show. Apparently she, busted up her knee real bad, so they're doing this tournament to decide who's going to be the new champion. And this match is actually going to be Kelly. She enters first, and then it's Alicia Fox entering. And it's Alicia Fox versus Kelly for a shot at the title, But Jerry Lawler's horn dog comment for this women's match is, I know Mike Tyson's going to enjoy this women's match as much as I am. Which, when I say it, probably doesn't sound very horn dog-ish, but the way he says it, you know that he's being a horn dog. That was half of his commentary during women's matches back in the 2010s, so not great. But Alicia Fox starts the match off pretty strong. But Alicia Fox ends up hitting Kelly with some sort of pop-up power bomb and got the 3 count at exactly 2 minutes. Because I timed the match to see how long is this. Because I know the women's matches are always really short back in the day. Their match only lasted exactly 2 minutes, which is crazy that it was exact. But they only fought for 2 minutes in that match. That's crazy how little time they got. And then it cuts to Legacy. They come out to the ring, and Cody Rhodes starts trying to cut a promo about how it's not Randy Orton's time to shine this time in the Rumble. It's going to be him, or it's going to be Ted DiBiase. And then Ted DiBiase starts talking about how it's going to be him, and it's his time to win the Rumble, and how he's like insinuating that he is the better version of Cody Rhodes. He starts to say that he's just different, and that Cody's dad says that he's got like Hollywood, like Cody's dad says that Cody Rhodes has like Hollywood level looks, but Ted DiBiase has the talent, and they're like going back and forth. So you know that this Rumble is gonna be a little bit of a war between Legacy to see who's gonna win this year. And then Mark Henry and Evan Bourne enter for a tag match against Legacy, because I guess they're feuding. I'm not sure why, because I just started watching last week. So I guess they're beefing right now. So Mark Henry and Evan Bourne enter for their tag match against them, and Ted DiBiase starts it off against Evan Bourne. And Evan Bourne starts off strong for like a good 30 seconds, and then the momentum shifts right to Legacy, and they're just demolishing Evan Bourne. But the second Mark Henry gets the tag, it like shifts right back to, ooh, is Mark Henry and Evan Bourne gonna win? They are kicking butt. They were doing like a really good job at trying. But in the end, Cody Rhodes hits the crossroads on Evan Bourne, and he ends up getting the 3 count. And then after that segment, well, after that match, it cuts to DX in the back discussing. Shawn Michaels is saying that last week he buried the hatchet with Bret Hart, and since Mike Tyson's back, he wants to do the same with Mike Tyson. He wants to go to Mike Tyson and just kind of talk about what happened with them back in the day, and just bury what just forget what happened in the past and just like keep going into the future. And Triple H is saying like, I don't know, that guy is crazy. I don't know if it's a good idea for us to be going around him after what happened in the past. That guy's nuts. But Shawn Michaels is like, I really think I should do it. And then after a quick commercial break, it cuts to Shawn Michaels talking to Mike Tyson, saying like he forgives Tyson for knocking him out at WrestleMania 14, and then Mike Tyson starts to get mad, and he's like saying that he enjoyed knocking out Shawn Michaels, and that he would happily do it again if he ever got the chance, and saying that he doesn't accept Shawn Michaels saying that he forgives him because he's not apologizing, he wants to do it again. And then Chris Jericho, who was Justin Jericho last week, but they lost their match, so Jericho had to break up. Like, they lost their last attempt to get the tag titles from DX. So I guess he's no longer Jericho anymore. But Chris Jericho shows up, and he starts to say that him and Mike Tyson would like a match versus DX. And if DX loses, then Chris Jericho can be on whatever show he wants. Which is kind of weird, because last week, Chris Jericho lost and then was supposed to go to SmackDown because he lost. But I guess since he's friends with Mike Tyson now for some reason, Mike Tyson was like, come on, be on Raw this week. I'll get you a chance to... I'll give you a chance to win your spot on Raw back. and Shawn Michaels is all mad, being like, well, I guess fine, I'll see you in the ring later. And then after another commercial break, it cuts to Jack Swagger saying he's going to win the Royal Rumble. And last year, he was the ECW champion, so he didn't get to participate in the Rumble, but this is going to be his year. He's going to enter the Rumble, and he is going to be the last man in the ring. And he decides to issue an all-American, American challenge for anyone who thinks they could throw him over the ropes. Get out here and do your best to get me to throw me over the ropes. And then Santino Marella's music kicks in, and he slowly comes out. And then Santino starts to say, that's kind of awkward, because I was just about to issue the all-Italian challenge. And he starts to tell him that he was going to do the same, where he was going to issue the challenge that if anyone wants to throw him over the rope to prove that they can get out here and do so. Santino says that there's only one way to settle this, and he says he's going to drop him like a bicycle with no kickstand. And then the bell rings and the match gets going. And Santino starts off like getting dog walked. He was getting stomped into the ground by Jack Swagger. But Jack Swagger goes to throw Santino out of the ring, and Santino does not let go of Jack Swagger when he gets thrown out, and Jack Swagger flies out of the ring, flops onto the ground. So Santino ended up beating Jack Swagger in a match in the All-American American Challenge, or the Italian Challenge, whatever you want to call it. Which is nuts. Let's go Santino. Shout out to my boy. I think he's in... I don't even know. I think he's in Impact now, isn't he? But after another commercial break, which I didn't realize how many commercials there are in this show. It's crazy. Because I watch it on Hulu, so I don't really see the commercials. But I was watching this on Peacock. And I don't have Peacock Premium, so I do get a lot of ads. But after another commercial break, it cuts to Randy Orton entering the ring for his triple threat match. It's gonna be that's gonna be John Cena, Randy Orton, and Kofi Kingston having their match for a shot at Sheamus at the Royal Rumble. And John Cena and Kofi Kingston start off working together to beat the snot out of Randy Orton. They do a lot of team moves, which was pretty cool to see them double team him for a bit. But Sheamus decides to come out and watch the match, and when his music kicks in, it ends up distracting John Cena and Kofi Kingston, and they end up looking at Sheamus being like, you want to come fight us? Come on, get in here. And then Randy Orton hops in the ring, knocking them both on the ground. And then it cut to another commercial, which it's absurd how many matches got broken up by the commercials. Everything. For sitting there watching an hour and a half of wrestling, 90% of it was it coming back from commercial. It's crazy. But after another commercial, it comes back to Randy Orton's beating the snot out of Kofi while John Cena's outside of the ring. And they didn't show how we got outside of the ring, so we'll never know. But after a very long, hard-fought fight, Legacy ends up coming out, and Cody Rhodes ends up kicking the steel steps into the side of John Cena's head, which was insane. Poor John Cena. And then Cody Rhodes got up onto the edge of the ring and started screaming at the ref so Ted DiBiase could hop in the ring. And I think he like power bombed him or something off the top rope onto the mat, giving Randy Orton the shot to get an RKO on him and pin him, get the 3 count. And this is when we know, okay, so Randy Orton is cementing himself a WWE title shot against Sheamus at the Royal Rumble. So I bet that's a good match. I haven't seen it. And then it cuts to Justin Roberts interviewing Mike Tyson backstage. And Hornswoggle comes over and he just starts doing whatever those Hornswoggle noises he always does are. And he's crotch chopping and just going crazy. And then Mike Tyson like kneels down and he starts threatening to like rip his head off and like jab his eyes out. And he gets like real scary real fast there, man. It's nuts. Mike Tyson got violent for a second, and Hornswoggle's all scared, and then he just like runs away. Yeah, he was saying that if he sees Hornswoggle anywhere near him, he'll like rip his head off. It's crazy. And then after another commercial break, it cuts to, at the time, the U.S. champ Miz, talking about how for years he was banned from the locker room because one time he ate chicken over a ref's bag, and the ref got upset, and so the locker room decided that they're going to ban him. And how years of the entire locker room harassing him and JBL constantly making fun of him turned him into the man he is today. It turned him into the amazing U.S. champ standing in front of you. And he starts to say that he wishes that MVP was still in jail and that MVP doesn't deserve a shot at his championship. And he starts to say that he does not believe in second chances because Miz has been perfect his entire life and he will never need a second chance because he already has perfection down to a T. And he's been perfect his entire life. And then he starts to say that even though MVP wears these nice suits and he wears his diamonds and he has his hair all nicely cut, you could put diamonds on a dog, but it's still a mutt. And then MVP's music kicks on, and he starts to talk about, like, yes, I have been in jail, but I've embraced my past. I've learned from my mistakes, and I've embraced my past because I don't want other people making the same mistakes that I have. And he starts talking about how, yes, he was in jail for years, and he had to fight his way through. He was locked up with other animals in cages, and he had to fight his way through. And yes, he also had to lick his wounds, and he struggled in there, but he had to endure things that The Miz has only seen on TV. So him and The Miz are not on the same level. And then he starts to say, well, everyone here in this circus is an animal, but I am no mutt. I am more like a Bengal tiger. And Miz, you are a monkey flinging poop. And then The Miz starts freaking out, being like, I'm a monkey that flings poo? I'm a monkey that flings poo. And then he starts to say, well, maybe I should fling poo at your mouth so you could taste what comes out of it, which was the most unhinged thing I've ever heard The Miz say. That was insane. Just being like, maybe I should throw poop at your mouth. What? That was crazy. And then it ends with MVP being like, go ahead, open the cage, and let the animal out. And then they end up brawling, and it was pretty even for a minute, but MVP ends up yeeting The Miz out of the ring, and Miz runs away. And then after another commercial break, it cuts to another Divas tournament match between Katie Lee Burchill and Eve Torres. But it has Maurice on commentary, who won her match last week against the Bellas, I believe it was. So, because she's in the same tournament. And Jerry Lawler's second horn dog comment of this week was him saying that Maurice smells amazing because she was on commentary with him, and he was like, "Man, you smell amazing," and she was just kind of awkwardly like, "Yeah, it's my perfume." It's crazy the things that Jerry Lawler was saying, but like I know that's not like super bad, but like that's still pretty weird. Like, calm down, old man. Jerry Lawler was the voice of my childhood, but also sometimes he needs to calm himself. But Eve Torres was getting stomped out for a good bit of the match, but she ended up winning, and the match only lasted 1 minute and 57 seconds. It's crazy how in the hour and a half of wrestling I just watched, 4 minutes of it was divas, and then the rest of it was all the men. That's crazy. That would not happen nowadays. Not with Triple H in charge, giving the divas. They're women's wrestler, the superstars now. They're not divas. Sorry. I'm watching 2010's wrestling when they were divas, so it's stuck in my head, but Triple H would never do that nowadays. But Maurice was on commentary, and she was just kind of trying to avoid Jerry Lawler's weirdness. But after that Divas match, it cuts to Vince McMahon coming out to the ring after another commercial break, and he starts to say that Bret Hart's not here tonight, not because Vince McMahon got extra security outside and inside to make sure that Bret Hart couldn't get in, but because Bret Hart is intimidated by Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon saying that after everything Bret Hart did to him, and the fact that Bret Hart screwed himself back in the day, Vince McMahon decided to screw him last week. Which, hey, yo, bro. But yeah, he was like, I screwed him last week. And he starts to say that he doesn't respect that Bret Hart was trying to bury the hatchet because he doesn't play nice, he doesn't forgive, and he does not forget. And as long as he's here, Bret Hart will never be seen in a WWE ring ever again. And that's it. He just says that, and then he just walks away. It was literally like a minute of him coming out and being like, yeah, I kicked him in the nuts last week. And then he's just like, and I think I was right to do so. And then he just kind of celebrates and leaves. There's no Bret Hart. There's no real end to that. It just feels a little too sudden. But yeah, it's just like, he's scared of me. He didn't show up because he's scared, not because I was scared. It's because he was scared. And then after that segment, it cuts to Vince McMahon. No, wait. Sorry. I was looking in the wrong spot in my notes. I'm a dummy. It cuts to the tag team champions, D-Generation X, entering for their tag team match, finally, against Iron Man Mike Tyson and Chris Jericho. And Shawn Michaels gets in, and he starts to cut a promo on the Undertaker, being like, I want your answer this Friday. I want you to tell me, are you accepting my match at WrestleMania? Will you face me at WrestleMania again? And then Triple H is just like, if you're too scared, I've got 2 words for you. Suck it! And then Chris Jericho enters. And then Mike Tyson enters for their tag match against the current tag champions, DX. And it starts off with Shawn Michaels was getting beaten down pretty bad for a moment there. And then Triple H got in, and Mike Tyson started beating him down pretty bad. And it was starting to look like maybe Chris Jericho and Mike Tyson are going to win this. And then Hornswoggle comes out with the DX music playing. He's got like a boxer's robe on and boxing gloves on. And he comes out to the ring. And he starts to like yell at Mike Tyson as if he's going to try and box him in the middle of this match. Until Mike Tyson tags in Chris Jericho. And then Chris Jericho starts to try and get in his face, but DX stands up and starts to back up Hornswoggle. And they're just doing like a stare down for a good like 20 seconds, just staring each other in the eyes, being like, "We gonna do this now?" And then Mike Tyson takes one shirt off, revealing that he has a DX t-shirt underneath his Mike Tyson shirt. And Chris Jericho's still just talking smack to DX, thinking he's got Mike Tyson on his side. He starts to turn around and gets a big old punch right to the jaw. Chris Jericho just flops to the ground. Shawn Michaels gets the 3 count on him. So Mike Tyson didn't even knock out Shawn Michaels. He ended up knocking out Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho's on a 0-2 streak against guest hosts, because last week Bret Hart was like, "Screw you, dude," and this week Mike Tyson knocked his ass clean out, let Shawn Michaels get the dub on him. That's crazy. Yeah, and then after that it just cuts to like everyone crotch chopping and just yelling "Sock it," and the fireworks are going off, and everything that happens with a normal DX entrant, like victory, happens, except Mike Tyson's doing it with them, and Mike Tyson's son actually hops in the ring and is chopping with them, which that must be insane. Your dad's like a famous boxer, and then he's big enough that he gets it so you're allowed to get in the ring and start chopping too. That would be pretty huge. But yeah, it just ends with Mike Tyson's son joining Hornswoggle and Triple H and Shawn Michaels and him. And you just hear Jerry Lawler talking about, "Oh my gosh, Chris Jericho's still on the ground. He hasn't moved this entire time." And then you see Chris Jericho roll out of the ring and just start trying to book it for the back. And Jerry Lawler's just kind of talking about, like, "I'd do that too if I was in his position." It's crazy. And then it ends up, they do that thing how Triple H would stand behind Shawn Michaels while Shawn Michaels would do the flexing thing. But it was Triple H and then Mike Tyson and then Shawn Michaels and then Hornswoggle standing in front of him, and then Mike Tyson's son's just standing off to the side doing the same pose. I don't know why they wouldn't have his son standing in front of Mike Tyson or something, but yeah, he was just kind of standing there. He wasn't even part of it. But that would be pretty hype to just hop in the ring after your dad just knocked out Chris Jericho. Which Chris Jericho should be knocked out by Mike Tyson after the recent accusations were, man. It's pretty crazy. Mike Tyson 10 years ago, actually 14 years ago, was having a WWE match against Triple H, and now he's training to fight Jake Paul of all people, man. He went from knocking out Chris Jericho to now he's going to knock out Jake Paul. He went from WWE to YouTubers, bro. Although, man's like 60. I don't think he should be fighting Jake Paul because he's like almost 60, but it's Mike Tyson. He's gonna kill him. Okay. Well, that's all I have for this podcast. I was going to start it talking about what happened on SmackDown when Cody Rhodes slapped The Rock, but I didn't want to talk about it because I saw people were like trying to cancel Roman Reigns because he called Seth Rollins a cross-dresser, and I just don't want to be talking about all that. I just wanted to talk about how hype it was. Cody Rhodes slapped him back. It went from the slap heard around the world when The Rock slapped him to the retaliation heard around the world. I don't know, but that was pretty hype. But I'm gonna leave it there. So anyone that listened to this podcast, thank you for watching. Please follow and rate this podcast, however that works. Goodbye.